Is your base overflowing with juicy loot and there's no more room for adding extra chests? The solution is simple. Build yourself the ultimate underground storage base, complete with 570 chests, so you basically never run out of space. And if you still manage to run out of space, then you may have a hoarding problem. Let's get into the tour. Alright, so just walking past the base entrance, I want you to tell me if you spotted it at all. And no, it isn't that giant thing over there. That's going to be the next tutorial, so be sure to subscribe for that. But the base entrance is somewhere around here. And if you guessed right here, then you were right. So yeah, the entrance down to this storage house is pretty much completely hidden from the outside. You can, of course, just make whatever kind of entrance you want down to this if you don't want it to be so secret, but I'll be showing you how to make a nice secret entrance similar to this one. And now with all of that said, let's head down into the storage house. So firstly, arriving down the water elevator, as you can see, we have pretty much just arrived at the entire storage house. So down here, we've got a nice step up from the elevator, and that can take us over to pretty much any side of the storage house that we want. And just quickly taking a look at the overall design, as you can see, we have a nice checkered pattern on the floor that repeats in the center and also on the outside as well. So it's kind of like two donut-shaped checkered patterns. We've also got a bunch of shroom lights around on the floor, and I've pretty much had to add these in just to make sure that mobs can't spawn anywhere under here. Even with all of the lanterns, there was still some areas that had a 7 light level, which meant that mobs could spawn still. And yeah, then taking a look at the roof, we've got probably one of my most favorite ceiling designs that I like to incorporate in most of my builds when I can. And that's with like these wooden support beams that run the length of the roof, and then we have some slabs in between those. And it just gives this really nice effect. I don't really know how to describe it, but yeah, I just really like it. And then we've got some lanterns pretty much placed around the entire ceiling, and we've got this pretty cool intricate design here for the elevator entrance as well, just so like it isn't this plain opening in the roof. And yeah, now we can take a look at all of the actual sections, which are pretty much all just double chests, as I wanted this area to just have as much storage as possible. Granted, you probably could add more chests along the floor or around here if you wanted to. I just really like the look of it being nice and open like this. Yeah, each section in here has 15 double chests or 30 regular chests, if you like to look at it like that, which in all of these sections makes up 570 single chests in total. And then also over here in the center, we just have like a little crafting / smelting station just for some ease of use. So if you had some stuff down here, you don't want to have to run all the way back up to your base to smelt or craft anything. We've just got a little section here taken up by that. You can, of course, just replace this with more chests if you really wanted to, and that would get you up to 600 chests in total in here. If this still isn't big enough for you, which I don't understand how this would be too small for anyone, you can, of course, just easily expand this. You can make this entire area larger and just fit in more sections if you needed to. There's also plenty of room that you could take up in the middle area with more chests and just crafting blocks and whatever you needed. You could just place them around the place. And I mean, probably the easiest way to expand this entire base is just continue going down with your elevator and just make an entire another floor. That is probably going to be the easiest way to do it. And yeah, with all of that said and done, if you want to build this for yourself, feel free to stick around and we'll get started in the tutorial right now. Alright, so starting off, we're of course going to be making the entrance design. And like I mentioned in the tour, you can make this into whatever you want. If you don't want it to be secret at all, feel free to just make a staircase down into it. But for this video, I'll be showing you how to make a nice hidden entrance that needs no redstone whatsoever. So all you're going to have to do is pretty much just find a body of water similar to this, or you can make it in a river or even in the ocean if you wanted to. And you're going to have to find an area that's at least 2 blocks down, and preferably with a bunch of existing seagrass around the place to help you blend in your base. And so I think right here is a pretty good spot. So what I'm going to do is just dig a couple of blocks down for now just to mark it out, and then to cover it up, all we're going to do is surround every single block here with some seagrass, and then in the places that we can make tall grass, we're just going to make a couple of tall grass blocks. We're not going to make all of them into tall grass because it does look kind of weird that they're all just in this one area. So we're instead just going to choose maybe 2 or 3 to leave as tall grass, just like that. And now for some bonus points, you could add some lily pads around the place if you wanted to, making sure to add one directly above the hole, and that'll pretty much keep the eye just away from your base entrance, and yeah, it just kind of helps conceal it a little bit more. It might look a little bit out of place in an area like this, so you might want to keep the lily pads to kind of like a swamp area or wherever lily pads have naturally spawned, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the secret entrance. As long as no one spots you going down here, you should be fine. So now what we can go ahead and do is jump down into the actual entrance. You might need a water breathing helmet for this. And now we're going to be digging down quite a ways. We're going to probably want to go like at least 15 to 20 blocks down. So let's just keep going. Of course, I've sprung into a cave, which is is a little bit annoying. But around this level should be fine, just as long as the top of the water isn't really like going to be breached when you destroy all the blocks and area for the base. And now for bonus points, what you can do also is add in a trapdoor at like the entrance to your elevator, and that will block all of the light coming out during the nighttime as well. Alright, I've just gone and fixed up the entire cave that I dug into just to represent what you guys will probably find, which is just going to be like an empty area. Alright, now something to note is our trapdoor is going to stop the water flow of the elevator, so what we're going to have to do is just place a water bucket inside of the trapdoor to make it waterlogged and just continue our elevator all the way down. Alright, and so I feel like this is definitely pretty far down, so now what I'm going to go ahead and do is go 1 block up from the bottom and dig up a 2 block high kind of tunnel like this, and then we can just clear out a small little area around this water elevator. Alright, and now it's time to get started with the excavation, and for this you're of course going to need a pretty manly pickaxe. So from where we are, we can pretty much just stand in the center of any of these walls, and we're going to be digging in by 4 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now let's just quickly do this on every single side. Now what we're going to do is head to the end of any of these tunnels and dig to the left or right by 5 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now granted that we dug to the left, we're going to dig to the left again to meet back up with our tunnel that should be right here. Yes, here it is. And now once we reach this area, we're just going to keep going in by another 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to turn to the left again and just dig all the way to our tunnel. And then we're just going to repeat this for this half as well. And now with all of that done, we should have like kind of this outer ring that surrounds the area. And now we can just stand in any of these corners and just excavate all of the stone and whatever else is in the inside here and just clear it out. All right, and now with all of that excavated, we're now going to be raising up the roof to be 7 blocks high. So we've already got 2 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we're going to have to do this to every single block in the ceiling. All right, now with all of that done, your area should be looking like this. Now it's time to push out these walls even further, but this time we're going to be leaving the bottom layer of blocks. So we're going to be starting this excavation 1 block above the very bottom of the wall here. And so we're going to be going in by 6 blocks. So I've already dug 1 block here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now let's just do the same thing that we did to our original area here. We're going to do this in every single wall. And now with all of those done, we can head into any of the tunnels all the way down to the end and start digging to the left. We're going to go in by 11. So 1, 2, 10, and 11. Oops, I didn't mean to go that far. And now at the end of this tunnel, we're going to go left again and just keep going until we meet back up to our tunnel that we excavated, which is right here. And now we're just going to repeat this exact same thing once again around the entire area. Okay, and now with all of that excavating done, we should now have a ring that just surrounds the entire length of the base. And we're going to be doing, once again, what we did before, just excavating all of the stone and stuff on the inside of this ring. And with all of that done, we're now going to be raising all of this up to be the same height as this area that we've already done in here. So just 4 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4. And just do this to every single block around here. Okay, and so that's pretty much the main base area excavated. We're going to have to do more excavating as we add in our chests. But for now, what we're going to go ahead and do is make sure that every exposed block in the base is a stone block. So replace all of this granite, coal, and whatever else is in the area with some stone. Okay, and now with all of that done, we can start actually adding in some stuff to the base. Starting off with all of our pillars that are going to surround the walls. So let's just head to any corner of the base, and instead of placing directly in the corner, we're going to go 1 block to the left and 1 block to the right of it. Now heading along any of the walls, we're going to be leaving a gap of 3 blocks between all of these pillars. So 1, 2, 3, and then on the next block, place in the base of our next pillar. Now we're just going to continue doing this to the right once we reach back up to our corner right here, and then we can just continue doing the exact same thing around the entire base. And now with all of the base of our pillars added in, it's time to just raise them all the way up to the height of the ceiling. And while we're at it, we might as well just connect them all the way up in the center as well. And we're going to be doing this, of course, to every single pillar. So once you've raised one up to the height of the ceiling, just connect it up to the next pillar across. Okay, and now with all of our pillars added in, we're now going to be adding in the roof design. So we're going to just choose any wall, and we're going to start placing some additional logs on the kind of intersection block here of all of the pillars. We're not going to be placing any on this block as it will just kind of look weird, so don't worry about doing the edges. So we're just going to extend this pillar along the roof all the way down to the other side. We're going to be doing the same on all of these pillar intersection blocks here as well. Next up, with all of these beams added in, we're going to be placing some spruce slabs, pretty much covering up all of the stone blocks in the ceiling, so just every block in between all of these pillars that we've added in. And now the last thing for the ceiling is we're going to head to any of the sides over here, look in the center of one of our sections, and we're going to count a gap of 2 blocks, so 1, 2, and on the next block we're going to place an additional spruce slab and a lantern on that. Now in line with this, we're going to be adding a bunch more lanterns all the way down to the other end, leaving a gap of 3 in between all of these. So 1, 2, 3, place a slab and then a lantern. And we're just going to continue doing this all the way down to the end, making sure to place slabs, not spruce logs. And once we reach the other side here, we should have a gap of 2 at this end. And now we're just going to repeat this exact same thing in every single section in the ceiling. I will just quickly note, you obviously don't want to add a lantern in where the elevator is, as we're going to be adding our elevator entrance design, if you can call it that. It's really just like a decorational kind of thing. So firstly, to add this in, we're going to obviously head to our elevator, and we're going to remove a ring of slabs that are around the kind of water stream here, and we're going to be replacing them with some stairs that are all facing away from the water itself. So we're just creating like kind of a ring like this around it. And then below all of the middle stairs here, we're going to place some closed trapdoors so that we have kind of like a chute entrance. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it just gives it a cool look, I guess. Right, and so that's it for everything for the ceiling, and now it's time to turn our attention down to the floor. So firstly, let's head back over to our water elevator and remove this ring of stone around it, and we're going to be replacing all of these blocks with some stone stairs instead. Now, if you want, you can also choose to waterlog all of these stairs with, obviously, some water. It just makes it look a little bit cleaner. And then at the very bottom block here, the remaining stone block, we're going to be replacing this with a shroom light. Or you can use sea lanterns or whatever the hell you want. Redstone lamps, it's up to you. Now we're going to be removing a ring of stone that is directly to the left of all of these stair blocks. And it's going to be a 2-block wide kind of ring as well. So we're going to continue this all the way up around here. Once we reach this point, we're going to turn back towards where the stairs are and just keep removing this ring of stone around it, like so. Now with all of that done, we're going to be adding in a checkered pattern of polished andesite and polished deep slate. Firstly, starting off in one of the outer corners with some polished andesite. Then let's just place in all of the polished andesite in a checkered pattern. And then we're going to once again go back and just add in some polished deep slate into all of the gaps. Now with all of that done, let's add in a ring of spruce slabs around all of this kind of like step up area. And now that's it for this little like middle kind of lowered area. And now we're going to be once again adding in the same checkered pattern on this area up here, except this one's going to be 3 blocks wide. So to mark it out, we're going to go 1 block away from this stone block here and destroy 3 blocks along. And you should be spaced 1 block away from this pillar block as well. Now we're simply going to be pushing this all the way up until we reach the corner of the base up here, stopping once we have reached this spot right here, still 1 block away from the pillars. Then we're going to turn to the right and just continue doing this exact same thing around the entire base. Okay, and with all of that done, you should have like this just ring of emptiness. And we're first going to be heading up to any of the corners, and starting off with a polished deep slate this time, we're going to be adding in our checkered pattern of just polished deep slate, and then we're going to go back around and fill in all of the gaps with our polished andesite. Next, with all of that done, we're going to have to go around and add in some more shroom lights along the checkered pattern, just to keep the area nice and bright. Starting off in the corner block right here, replacing this polished deep slate with a shroom light, or whatever light you want. Then we're going to head all the way along to the center of the base here and remove this and replace it with another shroom light. And then we're going to head to the other corner and of course replace this one with a shroom light as well. And now we're just going to keep doing this along the entire length of the floor. All right, and now it's time to add in all of our sections of chests and also our crafting area. Firstly, we're going to be starting off by adding in the crafting area. So we're just going to choose the center of any of our walls. I'm just going to choose this one right here, and we're going to start adding in our crafting area. So for this, we're going to have to excavate 1 single layer of stone blocks here. Then along the top, we're going to be adding in a strip of furnaces. Below this, we're going to add a spruce slab and then some spruce trapdoors coming away from that. Then below this, we're going to be adding in another shelf design, exactly the same as that one, except obviously with no furnaces above this time. And then below this, we can add in our crafting blocks, starting with a crafting table in the center. To the left of that, an anvil. And then to the right of the crafting table, a grindstone. Now at the back, we're going to be adding a little checkered pattern of polished andesite, starting above the crafting table here. Then we're going to branch off to the left and the right, and then back up here as well. Just keeps the back wall looking a little bit more interesting. Then in the center of our shelf here, we can add in a flower pot with an azalea. To the left of that, a lantern. And then to the right of the flower pot, a large amethyst bud. Now at the top here in the corners, we're going to place some upside down spruce stairs. In between them, a spruce trapdoor. And then below them as well, we're going to add some more spruce trapdoors. And now that's it for our crafting section. Now to the left and pretty much in every other section around the base, we're going to be adding in our next design, which is obviously all of the chests. So for every single section here, we're going to have to excavate a 2 deep layer of stone. We're also going to have to make sure that every exposed block here is going to be stone. Then we're just going to fill up all of the areas that we excavated with a whole bunch of double chests. It might be kind of tricky to place these last 2 in, so what you can do is actually remove this center chest here and then just place these chests facing the other way, and then just remove this chest again and place back in your other chest, and then place this chest in like so. It's a little bit annoying. You can also just remove part of the wall if you want to, place in the rest of those chests a little bit easier as well. Now at the top, we're just going to repeat this exact same design that we've already done, so adding in our stairs and our spruce trapdoors. And now all that's left to do for the entire base is repeat this exact same thing in every single section along all of the walls. And so once you've added all of those in, you should have something looking like this. And that also means that we're fully done with the entire storage room. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, as it helps me out a lot more than you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.